Contest is for the IWC High Stakes Championship. And this contest will be a submission match.
And you know, as judgmental as we like to be, BC, we have questioned the behavior of the champion of the high stakes division every step along the way, and he's proven us wrong every time. But will this be the match that he needs?
Introducing first, he is the challenger, making his way to the ring from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, weighing in at 233 pounds, the submission specialist, Spencer Slade.
We know the focus, we know that quest for competition that Spencer Slade always has, and Spencer sought out Apollo, and you touched on it a month ago, BC. Coming out of the ICWA training school, there were those three stallions that you could hitch your wagon to and probably score big every time as rookies. They were Cole Carter, Alexander Apollo, and Spencer Slade. Spencer, the only man of that triad to not be presently wearing gold.
Well, that could all change after tonight. Spencer Slade, you think about what he has done since his debut. I mean, he's almost been a top guy since the beginning. I will say, absent again is Justin LeBar, and I mean,
do you miss him?
Well, I do, but if Spencer Slade needs representation, I'd have no problem throwing my hat into the ring.
You really want to get yourself in the middle of another mess?
And his opponent from the Isle of Evia, weighing in at 251 pounds, he is the current IWC High Stakes Champion, the Greek God, Alexander Apollo.
476 days as high stakes champion and counting. BC still nobody in the history of that title dating back to 2001 even comes close to those numbers.
Well, yeah, and talk about some of the title defenses he has had, challenging himself against Johnny Patch, needing to come off the top rope in a high stakes match in the literal sense against Johnny Patch, defeated him. He defeated Jackson Argos in a 16-bit match, eliminating Jackson Argos, who considered himself the master of the 16-bit Battle Royal. He defeated Deputy Don in a matchup, a body slam matchup that Deputy Don made famous, as we saw earlier as well, Deputy Don in the Pittsburgh Classic.
How about a month ago when Apollo was defending the title in a scramble matchup, and Apollo decided, I don't have enough challengers. Let's make this a six-man match and not a five-man. And Spencer, a quick go behind and takedown. Collegiate credentials through and through is Spencer Slade. And you know what? Apollo has gone through all those challenges that we've named and others through his work ethic, through his tenacity, through his staying power. But there's no way that Apollo has the knowledge of submission wrestling that Spencer Slade does.
Well, it's Spencer Slade's life's work. I mean, from as I understand it, from as young as Spencer Slade can remember, he was, looking to gain an advantage, whether it was wrestling around on the playground and really dominating everybody, or just, collegiate competition, or here in the world of IWC.
Spencer, the open hand shot to the back of the head. More insult than injury, and then fired Apollo up, who's coming back with right hands. Spencer, roll through. That body control is so important, and comes up with the ankle lock. This may not last long. And Apollo counters!
Well, that was a good counter. I was going to say, for the sake of Apollo, if Spencer gets a hold of that ankle like he likes, it's over, but he's going to roll through.
Apollo didn't just counter. He countered Spencer with Spencer's own hold. What would that mean for the psyche and the ego of Spencer Slade if he has to tap out to his own specialty?
Well, that could send him absolutely over the edge. And
Apollo cinching in a stretch muffler submission, wrenching the knee and the leg over the neck, but couldn't get the traction long term. And now just carrying Spencer Slade. There's been no doubt the amount of power and upper body strength Apollo possesses since day one. Spencer just felt it firsthand.
Yeah, and it's one thing to be able to deadlift, but it's another thing to be able to move around while you do it. And that's what we saw with Alexander Apollo right there.
Apollo charging in, rapid-fire clotheslines. I think you have to just smother Spencer with offense and keep him on the defensive, because Spencer takes advantage of those little subtle openings. There you see, grabbing the arm, wrenching it across that top rope. And Spencer, does not need a big opening to find or create a weakness. Did Apollo connect with the post? I believe he did.
Well, that could be another opening for Spencer Slade.
If not the post, then certainly the back of the turnbuckle, and just wrenching that arm and shoulder down aggressively.
You know, that's a really good way to damage the nerve as well when you land awkward like that.
Well, keep in mind, again, the power of Apollo and the upper body strength. Keep in mind that discus clothesline he utilizes. That arm comes into play with all of them. Spencer looking to shut it down. I see a couple of Greek flags in our audience as well. You see it in the background of your screen. Apollo, a very lively cheering section here at the Court Time Sports Center, Elizabeth, Pennsylvania.
Well, I don't know if you're familiar with global economic situations, but, you know, the Greek economy for quite a while went down, and just as it did, Spencer Slade is going to be the cause of Alexander Apollo. I mean, look, I'll give Alexander Apollo all the credit in the world. Oh, he wants to get better. He wants to challenge himself. But you're going to get in there against the guy who just knows submissions. It's what he does. Spencer Slade is one of one.
Spencer wrenching that leg. And now Apollo, oh man! The point of that post comes into contact with the knee. And Spencer is directing his hatred and his venom to the Greek flags in the cheering corner of Apollo. Spencer has moved from the right arm, to the left leg. Is this a wise move to abandon his old strategy, or is it wise to chop down Apollo piece by piece in your estimation?
Well, if you're going to chop him down piece by piece, you definitely want to focus on that leg and ankle, and that's what Spencer Slade's doing. Smart strategy. The kid, he's not just built like he is. He's not just able to get it done in the ring. He is a smart man. Fear the Gear is not just
5 minutes gone by.
Stupid
5
Lendl.
minutes gone by.
Fear the Gear is not just something cool to have on a t-shirt. When he puts that headgear on, he becomes a different animal. Oh.
Those legs interlocked, and when Spencer drove his body weight backward, all of the pressure went onto wrenching that knee.
And you talk about Greek god Apollo, you can call all the gods. You can call Zeus and Thor, Poseidon, Athena, Eros. You can call them all.
Oh, dropping down with that elbow.
And that was smart right there. Spencer just went up high on that leg.
Athena doesn't work here, by the way. But Spencer focusing on Apollo, taking that vertical base and keeping it away. And every single thing Spencer has done has focused on the leg and now is more toward where Spencer likes to target, not far away in that ankle.
Well, it's a smart move. He knows when he gets the ankle. One of the ways that you can defend, as we saw earlier, to roll through is to use the other muscles in that leg to try and get some space and get some movement. But if your leg's numb, you're not going to be able to do much of anything. You
got to wonder if Spencer, who sits in a half Boston Crab, I notice he's got a double lock around that knee. Oftentimes this move normally focuses on Apollo got to the rope. It can focus on the lower back depending on how back you sit on it, but your upper body can control how much damage is being done to that knee. It's almost a 1-2 punch.
Well, for Alexander Apollo, he better hope he can come up with a 1-2 punch, because he's not going to come up with a 1-2 kick.
You got to wonder if Spencer's victorious tonight, in 2023, will every high-stakes title match be a submission match? He could pick the stipulation.
Well, we could have the lifetime high-stakes champion then at that point.
And Apollo comes down. Scissor kick connects. And Spencer, a awkward landing. Does Apollo have an opening?
Well, if he has any opportunity, he needs to take it right now.
Oh, Apollo went big with that jumping side kick, but the landing jarred the knee again. And Spencer buries that boot deep in the midsection. Spencer maybe looking Texas Cloverleaf.
And you saw Spencer he interlocked those fingers.
Yeah, and you can see that poise, that stance. Spencer is leaning forward onto the knee joint rather than backwards to arc the back. Spencer is positioning his weight well, but Apollo kicks free. Swing and a miss. Oh, Apollo got him that time. First one came up empty, but Apollo looking to score big and quick. Leg lariat. Spencer is on the defensive for the first time in a long time.
And you just saw Apollo when he was down trying to throw in a little bit of, trying to get some feeling back in that leg.
Spencer rolls through and immediately tunnel vision to the ankle. Spencer shifts towards the center of the ring to get optimum positioning. Will Apollo tap away his record-breaking title reign? Now takes out the vertical base. Apollo a rear naked choke. Will Spencer tap out? What an example of move and counter move this has been. Spencer's trying to break that body lock, and he's picked the ankle again. And Apollo lost his grip when Spencer moved further down in the body, and now the momentum carries Spencer to the post.
Not only threw Spencer into the post, but also tripped him up on the way down.
Oh, check this out. Apollo from a torture rack position just dropped his challenger. But notice Apollo favoring the ankle still. I thought maybe BC Apollo was going to look to cinch in the old torture rack submission, Lex Luger style, but maybe didn't have enough ankle strength to support the weight. Stretch muffler again.
You know, the key with this is you've got to get your opponent off the ground. You have to get Spencer Slade off the ground if you're Alexander Apollo.
Many men have utilized this submission move successfully. I believe Sami Callihan won a Super Indy title that way. But now Spencer Slade reversing once more. And you have to wonder how much can that ankle handle before it's tap out or snap.
Well, he was able to push through again, but Spencer held on.
A tenacious shark-like grip. Apollo kicking whatever he can do to create some distance. I think Apollo may have been looking for that discus, but Spencer shut it down. Apollo got it that time. But you can't pin him in this match. That would be 1, 2, 3. Spencer's not moving, but you gotta submit him. Apollo can't even stand at this point in time. His list of holds he can physically perform, maybe a short one at this point, just based on the pain.
You're going to have to wonder what submissions did he work on? What submissions is he able to get? He just took too much time.
Spencer picks the leg again, looking to turn Apollo back over to that half Boston Crab, and Spencer setting it deep. Spencer is wrenching and pulling and tearing, and Apollo may not be able to take this anymore. He's dead center of the ring, and Apollo had no choice.
Here is your winner, and new IWC High Stakes Champion, the Submission Specialist, Spencer Slade.
Joe, for well over 1 year, you and I both asked the question, who can defeat Alexander Apollo, not at his own game, but at their own game? And there is your answer. Spencer Slade, new IWC High Stakes Champion.
Well, you're talking about gods and mythology and that whole deal. Bottom line, Alexander Apollo finally flew too close to the sun. And it was Spencer Slade who cinched him back down to earth. And you have to wonder how the most unpredictable division in IWC is going to look with a submission specialist at the helm in 2023. Many say it's overdue. Many say it's inevitable. Spencer Slade wearing IWC gold. And it may be a long, long time before we see him again without it.
Well, if there is a man that is bad enough to do it, if there is a man that is better than Spencer Slade, I surely haven't seen him yet.
Spencer Slade, fear the gear in 2023 as he carves out a dominant position as an IWC title holder. And we are far from done yet. We are moments away from our tag team championship matchup. 3 teams vying for the gold.